This video is about how I'm coping with my runner's knee that I've had since the marathon, and how being injured obviously is hard, but also how you can deal with it in terms of training, still putting a lot of hours in and getting better while you're waiting to get well, and the exercises that I'm doing, and also the mental game injuries kind of is.
I lost sight, feeling broken down. Made a victory, but my heart is drowned. I don't understand it, I don't understand it. Where did I go?
I want to be honest with you on this channel, and I don't know if I've voiced it as loud ever before, but failing as an athlete and not reaching the dreams that I set myself back when I was a speed skater, it's probably one of the hardest things that I've gone through, and it bothers me to this day. So this weekend when I'm watching the World Championships, it brings back all these thoughts about, oh, I wish I could still skate. I wish that I was succeeding as an athlete. And it is hard. Like, at times it makes me very emotional. It makes me almost want to cry because I guess, like, you could say I gave up, but it was also 10 years of adversity and not getting anywhere with my skating. And so I think that's why it made me so happy and meant so much to me when I found running this fall or this summer and realized that I was pretty good at it, that I could have that I had a potential to run fast. And doing a 2:52 marathon doesn't really scare anyone, but when it's your first marathon and it's been 4 months of training, I guess it just means that there is a lot more fun to come. And that's where I was at when I came home from the marathon in October or in November, and I thought that I was just gonna have a week of rest before I was back at it, and signed up for Barcelona half marathon that was held a week or two ago, and I thought that I could just keep working on where I was at. Turns out that was not the world's or the universe's plan for me. I got injured, didn't really know what it was, but I quickly learned or realized that this must have been a runner's knee. I thought I just had a tight IT band, which is kind of what runner's knee actually is. But being injured when you're motivated, when you really want to keep pushing, it's hard. The hardest part, like number one, I guess, is it's hard to not work out and not to push yourself. And so I wish that I just stopped running altogether immediately. I never pushed myself. I feel like I'm pretty good at not pushing myself when I get to a point where I have pain. So as soon as I started feeling any pain at all, I would stop and I would have my girlfriend come pick me up. But it was still like weeks and weeks where I tried to run almost every day, and the runs just kept getting shorter. And so fast forward until January, February, where I was like super frustrated because I thought that things were moving in the right direction. I started getting back to the gym. I spent some time on my bike and started running every now and then, and I tried to have some intervals. So I did 5 times 4 minutes on threshold, and it was a good one. I had 11 kilometers on a training, and things were really going my way. And then obviously a day or two after, I started feeling pain again, and it was painful just to walk in the living room. And so I was like, okay, I need to approach this differently. I went to see a PT, and she's been with track and field national team. So I thought that she knew what she was doing. She gave me some exercises, told me what was wrong, showed me very clearly how weak my hips are and what I need to work on. And so that's where I'm at today. Like a few weeks later, I have started working on this, and I thought that I would take you through a week of my training. So I've had about 2 hours on the bike almost every day, and then I've been to the gym a few times. It's gym time. Going to the gym, gonna show you guys what I'm usually doing and what I'm doing now to get through my runner's knee, but also part of my gym training in general. Oh, by the way, for the camera geeks out there, I'm filming this on the Leica Q3. Let me know what you think about the quality. I will usually have normal squats. I will do some one leg squats with like where I'm lifting my leg. I don't even know what you call these exercises. You can see them here. And the whole point here is to strengthen my hips and make me stronger in that runner's position. So I'm trying to make sure that my knees are not bending at all, like they're straight. Everything is a straight line, and trying to push all the way through. And then I will usually go over to normal squats, trying to have a pretty heavy load on, and try to just work eccentric, because eccentric strength is very important for this kind of injury. So today I had 100 kilos. I'm doing 8 repetitions and 3 sets of that. My gym trainings, they're not supposed to be very, very hard. I'm trying to be efficient when I'm in the gym, 1 minute between each set, and also not pushing myself. So like the load that I'm having is obviously it's heavy, but it's not so heavy that I can't take it or that I couldn't do more sets if I wanted to. And then I'm moving over to some deadlifts, 8 repetitions here too. I've been staying on the same load for a while, almost since I started, 100 kilos. Not because I can't lift more, but I just don't see why I would need to do more. And so on both the squats and the deadlifts, I'm still making sure that my knees are straight, like solid, that they're not really moving in or out, because that is definitely a sign of the weakness, but also can just make things worse. And the reason I'm doing these 2 exercises, the squats, I'm very familiar with from speed skating, so I really I like doing that. But I also see how it strengthens my hips, my back, and just having strong legs in general is pretty important and pretty good. And so the deadlifts, I'm strengthening my hamstring and my back, which I also think is very important. And I know that the runner's knee is very like connected to the hamstrings, and so strengthening these part of my my legs and hips, very, very important. And then in between these sets, during my break, I will usually try to work on the balance, on a little balance thing you can see here, and try to do some exercises there to keep strengthening my hips. And that's kind of what I'm doing for legs when I'm in the gym. It's not a lot, it's not that much, but I'm trying to go like every other day, so I get to do this quite often. I have also been doing some of these exercises where I'm sitting and working on my hips, but the PT told me that when you're running, you're not sitting. So the problem is not that I'm not strong enough there, because there I'm really strong, but I have close to no strength when it comes to my hips in a standing position. So that's why I'm working on that. And then in the gym, I will also do some upper body work. I'm trying to kind of work on that these days. Not because I want to get big or anything, but it's just, I think that it will be helpful for me to just have a bit more muscle also on my upper body, just because it's nice to activate it. And I experienced this fall that my body got super upper body got super tight, just because I was not used to all the running, and I think that activating it will help that a lot too. So that's my gym workout these days, trying to get this knee working so I can get back to running. I'm also going to show you some of the exercises that I do every night that are some things that I got from my PT, kind of stretching and some strengthening of my hip. But yeah, I'll see you then. And then some people might ask, like, why am I not focusing more on my calves when I'm in the gym these days? Well, that is because right now my main focus is to get better in terms of the knee injury that I'm having, and I see the exercises that I mentioned on the gym training and also on the bike kind of like most essential to me right now. And then moving over to the bike, that is the second part of my training these days. It's a great way of getting a lot of hours at low intensity. So right now I'm doing like almost all of my bike rides at low intensity. So if you watch the last video, it's kind of like zone 1 and 2, trying to have a bit of a variation during the ride, so I don't have everything at the same intensity, but trying to mix it up a little bit because of the physical aspect, but mostly because of the like mental aspect of being on your trainer inside for 2 hours. It's not the most fun thing. And so in addition to my cycling and my gym training, I'm trying to put in 20 minutes-ish every night of doing this exercise that I got from my PT, which is kind of just stretching. So the first one is me lying on my back, stretching my hamstring, putting it to the side, stretching a bit more and back, and then the other leg, and then just keep doing this for like a total of 40 repetitions or something. It's pretty casual. I just do this while I'm watching TV. And then the other one is, you can see me standing here, bending and stretching forward, going back, and then balancing on the knee so I don't, so I can keep my hips leveled when I'm doing this, because that is important and a part of like the stretching and the strengthening of the hip. Then the next thing I'm doing, and you might have seen this if you've watched any videos online about how to get rid of a runner's knee or a tight IT band, lying on my side, and then I'm just pushing my leg up in the air sideways like this. 15 repetitions on both the legs, 3 sets of that. And I can already tell that I'm getting stronger, so that is nice. And I hope and believe that I will be back running pretty soon if I keep at it with what I'm doing now. I'm still building my condition and I'm getting better, so as soon as I can start running again, it will probably be very beneficial to have had these bike rides and all the hours that I put into my endurance training over the last weeks and months. I also recently heard a story about this guy who did a 2:08 or 2:09 marathon, and his theory was that the cycling really helped him in running faster. So hopefully that will be the that will be the case for me too when I start running again. Yeah, so I can't tell you for sure that this is helping you if you have a runner's knee, but I can tell that I'm improving and the things are going like heading in the right direction. And I thought it would be cool for you guys to kind of see what I'm up to and see how I am dealing with it these days. And then I promised you at the beginning of the video of like how talk a bit about how I am coping with it mentally, because obviously when you're motivated and you really want to keep working on something like this, like the running, it can be hard when you're stopped from doing it just because of pain, injury, other things that are not because of your motivation. And for me, I think I would say that it's not so much that I don't think about it, but I'm trying to kind of focus on what I can do rather than what I cannot do. And the most important thing for me is to show up and, like Eric Floberg would say, be about it, and not necessarily about the the running and the training itself, but more about the recover or like the rehab exercises, the ones that I'm doing every night, because I'm so bad at doing those boring, simple things. I'm more about the big things. So now I have to start working less on the big stones and more on the small ones. And in addition to that, working on the big ones where I'm just putting in a lot of effort into my cycling. And let me be clear about it. I'm not really enjoying having 2 hours on the bike inside. I really wish I could be outside, whether that was on my bike, but obviously my favorite thing to do right now would have been to be outside running. But I'll be back running, and I'll get back to working towards that goal that is a 2:25 marathon. And yeah, my PT also said, which she was great, but she also said that I had to remember how hard it is to be able to do a 2:25 marathon, and she clearly told me that, or I really had the impression that she didn't believe in me, and that is like putting gasoline on a fire. I love when people tell me, like, I obviously hate it, but I also really believe that I can make things and like that. And I think that a big part of me running a 2:52 marathon was that I was naive, believed in myself, and was just fired up by people saying I couldn't do it. So keep going, guys. I know I am. And thanks for watching. Ciao.